How bad do you miss that, Saban? How bad do you miss doing the behind the scenes? Because it was great. I loved it.
The first year basically what happened was they brought in that Greg brought in a new CEO, and there was this fucking internal war on the games inside of CrossFit. It was kind of always there from day one, but it was the kind of thing I thought I would do till I was 90 years old. I thought that literally like someone would be pushing me around in a wheelchair and I'd be asking just more and more fucking crazy questions to the athletes. I would be just like, I'd be like this weird anomaly that made it through time that can get away with just asking anything. And so that first year, I basically like a few days before the games, the new CEO just said, hey, you're not going to do the behind the scenes. Him and Greg basically decided that. And that was a huge, huge blow to me because it was really one of the only things I was filming at that time, because at that point I was running all of CrossFit Media. And so I didn't do a lot of hands-on stuff. And I enjoyed all the attention from it. I enjoyed the intimacy with the athletes. I enjoyed the access. Like there was nothing about it I didn't like. And it was really fucking hard work. And so the first year was really fucking hard. It was a blow to my identity, right? It's like who I was, right. A little piece. Like I looked forward to it, and I did my fucking best. I slaved. I didn't like. And you guys know. Like I didn't. I wasn't. I admired every single person out there. Like I had such crazy respect for all the athletes. I just loved it. I felt like I had died and gone to heaven, you know. And then the second year, it was a little bit harder. It was a little bit hard. And then by the third year, I thought, holy shit, could I even do that? Like, could I even do that now? Because it is so much fucking work carrying those cameras around and just being everywhere. So, I don't know. It waned. It's hard. I do remember watching the games on TV instead of being there, like in like Greg's like house he rented that first year, and just like venom pouring out of my pores. Like I would have killed, like, you know, I didn't do anything. I went to the games and just sat there for a fucking week.
What was the reasoning for removing you from that position?
Boy, I can't even fucking remember. So what happened in theory, there was a struggle between the message of CrossFit and the CrossFit Games, right? And it was this thing that Greg had created, and so affiliates, I think, and you know, maybe I'm speaking a little bit of hyperbole, but affiliates started taking sides. There were affiliates who were saying, yeah, the games is great for my affiliate, and there were affiliates who were saying, no, the games are bad for my affiliate. They scare people away. So that first year, so in 2016 or 17, we were told never to publish any games content on the front end again. And even though that was the order that was given to me, I still published games content on the front end, which is CrossFit.com. I think it was 66 times. And one of the things that Greg said is like, hey, only publish games content on the front end, like the New York Times would publish content about baseball on the front end. So that means, you know, when the World Series is won, the New York Times. But we had so much game shit. That was huge, right? The announcement of the Open, the regionals winners, new weight classes. So or someone
weight classes.
Age classes. You got into my head. Age classes. So there were all of these things that were still really important. And what's crazy is the Open is the crazy glue that held the community and the games together. So like, is the Open the games? Of course the fucking Open is the games. But is it part of the community? Of course it's part of the community. So there was always that weird struggle, and there was always a ton of tension between Dave and Greg. I mean, the communication from late 2006 when I started at CrossFit to the dying day, there was a crazy tension there, and I was very close to both of them, probably closer than anyone in the company to both of them, and I had to kind of witness that tension and help make sure that it didn't do my best to make sure it didn't lead to anything catastrophic. Finally, when I think what Greg brought in this guy who was just a fucking henchman CEO who didn't give a fuck about the the company and just wanted to yes man Greg, and he just destroyed the whole thing, right? He destroyed the games. He destroyed the media department. He didn't destroy the games. He destroyed the media department, left the media department in shambles, and changed the course of the games. And we're yet to see what the outcome of that is. But I don't know the exact
your
reason.
Story side of it doesn't sound biased at all.
I don't. I was kind of like telling that story. Look, I know I didn't answer your question. I could speculate what I could speculate what the reason is, but I don't know the reason for sure. But I could speculate the reason. But when they basically destroyed the games media team and the media team, that's not biased, Matt. That's the facts. They that was the nail in the coffin. And the one, probably the thing that got us the most subscribers every single year was the behind the scenes for the journal. That just exploded the journal every year. We published that in there, and it was a great way of bringing people to all of that content that was in the journal. So,
and it was great for the athletes. Like, that's the thing that I appreciated so much. Like anybody.
Oh, I should have said that to Greg. He would have really cared about that. But wait, I remember for the athletes.
I remember, like, especially 2014 when it was like I was brand new. Like, I remember watching it behind the scenes, and I was like, I just thought it was so cool that someone was there capturing those moments. I'm like, this video is posted. This video is going to be here forever. I can show it to anyone. I can go back and watch it anytime I want. But, it was just really cool for the athletes to go back and, especially like the CrossFit Games, it's a blur every year. As soon as the first event is done, like I've been doing it long enough now that I know, like, as soon as the first event's done, I'm like, the games are over. Like, I'm going to blink, and this 3, 4, 5 day thing is already done. And so there's a lot of stuff that is just a blur. You don't remember it, and then going back and watching it, it's some really cool, really special moments that got captured.
It's unique to the sport too. It's really unique. It was really unique to the sport that there was something that was so fucking candid, and that a lot of other sports I feel like don't have. I mean, even in one of the years in the behind the scenes, and I captured footage of someone handing Ricky Gerard a vial. Like, who knows what's in it, but it's in there.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Dude, I
didn't hand it to him. I filmed it.
That made it into the movie. And it wasn't pointed out in the movie. I can't believe that scene didn't get, like, screenshotted and posted more. But, like, yeah, clear as day of, like, them slipping him a black vial. And then like, they both realize the camera's on, and they're like, "Oh, butterfly," and they both, like, separate and run away.
It was
what did I say as Matt Lee? I don't want to ever come across as a whiny bitch about what happened at CrossFit, or bitter, or angry, or biased.
You're not at all.
So, because I think that's already been. Because I could think that's already been done. But the question was, hey, was that hard? Yeah, it was my baby. I created it. Like, it was my baby. I built all the relationships with you guys every single year. I had to deal with Dave shit. So tell me, what did I say that was biased, Matthew?
Oh, no. It's just like, I've heard. So I had met the CEO that you're talking about, and yeah. I was like, oh, this man is fantastic. Like, I got along with him great. I stayed in contact with him a little bit, like, very surface level. Yeah, I don't know anything that went on behind the scenes.
They've with no notice, they fired 70 of my staff members and gave me 1 day notice. And actually, I'll tell you the exact story. They told me I had to pick half my staff and fire them. So I picked half my staff and I fired them. And I did all the firings. Then a month later, they called me on a Sunday night and said, tomorrow we're firing the remainder of your staff. And I said, oh, fuck. And I said, okay, I'll be there in the morning to do it. And they said, no, you won't. We've been told that you're horrible at firing people. And so when I asked at the HR department, is that true? Has anyone said anything bad about the way I fire people? And she said, no, the exact opposite. They said you've given them dignity and respect and explained to them that this has nothing to do with their careers and you'll always be there for them for references, blah, blah, blah. Therefore, Oh, you did good, Matt. You did good. You should be an interviewer. Therefore, that is 1/10 of the reason why that guy is a piece of shit. 1/10.
So now,
1/10. I have nine more that I'll try to hold back for so we can stretch this out. So I have something to fucking contribute to the show.
Here we go. Getting some tidbits.
Little bit different, but kind of the same topic. Like what happened to your original podcast that you did, the one that you did in CrossFit HQ? So basically that podcast was doing very, 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 very fucking well. Yeah,
you could start seeing it climbing into the top rankings in Apple. And we had only done 100 shows. So basically the very first show, to make sure that everyone was happy, the very first show I did, we had Greg as the guest. And because I wanted to make sure that he was on board with it. And of course, he's a fucking amazing guest, but it is very hard to interview him when he's your boss. So basically, I interview him, we do the first show, and we get 20 shows in, and I start hearing, and it's a crazy show, right? Because the company's owned just by one man. And so I don't have to worry about anything. The most they can do is slap my wrist and tell me to quit the podcast. But I can be really real. I don't have to worry about offending people. I can talk about the difference between sex and gender. And I can ask women about their menstrual cycles in regards to competition. I don't have to be, oh my God, that's so fucking inappropriate. How about fuck you, Katrin? So I don't like name calling. You don't know that reference, Matt?
Oh, no, what are you talking about?
The New York Times made a fucking complete horseshit post about me that they clearly fucking did their research off of Reddit instead of watching the fucking podcast. And then Katrin Davidsdotter fucking reposted the fucking section that talks shit about me, which was a complete fucking lie, which of course the new fucking people at Berkshire fucking saw. You want to talk about some fucking irresponsible shit? Imagine someone you've dedicated your life to looking up to and admiring, and then all of a sudden she takes something from the New York Times and publishes it about me completely out of context. That's a complete fucking lie, and anyone can go listen to the podcast that I did with Stacy Tovar. And then when I did the Sevon podcast with Stacy Tovar 2 years later, she brings up her menstrual cycle because she had just had 2 kids, or maybe it was Meet the Parents. I can't remember which podcast it was. I got so many fucking irons in the oven that, it's just fucking insanity. It's fucking nuts.
Dude,
okay,
this is the first I'm hearing about any of this.
Yeah, because I only have 2.7% of the followers you have. So basically, we get to 100 podcasts, and somewhere between 70 and 100, I started hearing that people were very, very concerned with how popular the show is getting. And when I would ask Greg about it, he would say, "No, my God, I love the show." And then 20 minutes later,
concerned with how well it was doing?
Yeah,
why
that
would they
doesn't
be
make sense.
concerned? Yeah, why are they concerned?
I can only speculate. I could only speculate, and I don't want to do. I'm not ready to quite do that yet. So there was concern that I would hear rumors that there was concern about how popular it was, that it wasn't smart enough. I would hear all these things, but then whenever I would ask, and I would hear that, and then from rumblings from the other executives in the company. So then I would ask Greg, "Do you like the podcast?" And he'd say, "Oh my God, it's fucking great. It's fucking great." And then on the 96th show or 97th show, I had Greg back again. And it was actually a fucking one of my best interviews I've ever done. And it was him, and he was fucking amazing. But then a couple, less than 24 hours later, I got feedback that Greg and the CEO and 2 other people in the company, another executive and a non-executive, were on a phone call, and that they spent 20 minutes talking about how stupid I am and that I don't get CrossFit, and that the podcast is how bad it is. And so to save my job, and at that point I'm feeling threatened that if I don't, and I got advice from 2 other executives in the company saying, "Hey, we would stop if we were you." So I put my tail between the legs and pulled the plug. But to this day, every single day, no fucking hyperbole, someone DMs me and says, "Hey, I listened to one of those podcasts and I'm taking the L1 because of how great you said it was." And no one ever told me to do that. There was no plan behind the podcast. I just wanted the podcast to be wild and real. And I just plugged the shit out of the L1 because I love the L1 because it changed my life.
Yeah, I mean,
same way getting kicked out of the Air Force changed Josh's life.
I mean, it's type of thing. Like I remember, like I'd been out to HQ a couple times,